What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz rematch. The pay-per-view, which will be on Fox, has been reported poor ticket sales. Okay, let me read an article from Rick Glazer. And Rick Glazer, if you don't know him, he's had 18, 19 years of experience. He's a matchmaker, and he's worked with 36 former champions, 18 current champions. So he's on the level. And this article talks about him speaking to some colleagues of his, some writers. And it says, I've talked to two well-respected boxing writers last night, and they both said that the tickets to Saturday's Wilder Ortiz fight are dead as dead can be. And judging by my post here asking if boxing enthusiasts were going to buy the Wilder Ortiz pay-per-view, this fight is a DOA, meaning as in dead on arrival, as it should be. Fox will not be happy, as this show is going to be swimming in red ink. It's a financial bloodbath. As I'm also being told that not many foreign countries picked up this fight. When this fight was announced, I stated here that this show was going to be a financial disaster, and there was no public demand for a rematch, and the colossal gall Fox and PBC have to put it on pay-per-view. Well, Fox and PBC shared in that decision, and now they will share in the losses. Don't come back here on Saturday night and say, what are you talking about? The place was packed, because they're going to paper the house. There will be free tickets given out starting Wednesday. Okay, so that was yesterday. As that in the MGM Grand's modest, okay, good luck to the powers to be on this one. This is from Rick Glazer, and I don't know who he was speaking to, it's believable. However, I always question where information comes from, due to the fact Rick Glazer, he wasn't the one that said this. He was hearing this from other boxing writers. Okay, I don't know who those boxing writers are. Those boxing writers could be from ESPN. You know what I mean? They could be from DAZN. They could be from some other place besides Showtime or PBC, because I doubt that Showtime and PBC are making these type of projections. You know what I'm saying? So there could be bias in this. It could be a situation where it's an competitive writer that writes from some other, network that may be wanting to put this out as propaganda or a narrative that this fight won't sell. However, if we look at what happened with Showtime, Showtime did not want to invest in this particular fight for a reason. Okay, so there is some truth to that, and that does make you question, why did Showtime, with Deontay Wilder being so loyal to Showtime, why didn't they pick that fight up just for the sake of Deontay being that loyal? After all, he decided to go back with them, bet on himself by being loyal, by going back and collaborating with the people that got him there versus what the other fighters did, and he made that apparent on the time that he turned down the DAZN deal. So why couldn't Showtime honor that because of that decision that Deontay Wilder made? Why couldn't they say, you know what, Deontay's been with us, so we're going to front the bill? They didn't. They still didn't. PBC and Fox decided to pick it up. Now, the problem is also, no one asked for this fight. This fight wasn't a big demand fight. This fight was, to me, a throwaway fight. This fight was a curveball, okay? It was a smokescreen. It was one of these fights that I think was made because I think the pressure was on Team Wilder to make the Anthony Joshua fight, whereas Anthony Joshua had started campaigning and fighting in the U.S. Because, see, it was so many obstacles so many thrown in obstacles, okay, created obstacles or should I say excuses? Let's just be real. For the fight between Deontay Wilder and Joshua, to the point where, those reasons were starting to minimize. They were starting to subtract out of the equation of being a problematic reason on why that fight shouldn't happen. For example, Deontay Wilder didn't want to fight in the UK. Fine. Anthony Joshua was coming to the US. So now that wasn't a question of, okay, well, I have to go over there and fight Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua was coming here. Things of that nature. Oh, the money. He turned down $50 million. They offered him 100. Those things started happening. So, around the same time, where am I going with this? I'm going around that time when Anthony Joshua wanted to sit down with Deontay Wilder to make a deal to talk face to face, and he hasn't seen this man since March of 2017 after he defeated the champion, the ex-champion Klitschko. Okay, all of a sudden, the very next day, I'm fighting Ortiz on pay-per-view. Then I'm fighting Fury right after that. So you conveniently made your schedule occupied, okay? And that's why this fight I call was a thrown-in fight, a thrown-together fight. It wasn't really announced until much after the Joshua versus Ruiz rematch, which happened way after it's supposed to happen. So a lot of people question, would this fight even happen? But it is happening. So, knowing what we know, Showtime didn't want this fight. Based on these boxing enthusiasts, I still question that source. But then, if they were going on, if people were giving away tickets Wednesday, how good it will do. But we will know after it happens. We will know how many tickets it actually sold. We will probably know how many illegal streams it has. So we will know a lot about this situation as time permits. Okay, so, but I do understand what Rick was referring to. Nobody did ask for this fight. Showtime didn't even want it, despite the loyalty of Deontay Wilder. So, dead on arrival, I wouldn't really call it that, because I don't want any fight to fail. But then again, if you're making fights to avoid fights, then it should fail. And the reason it's going to fail because nobody wanted this fight. You wanted to avoid another big fight just to stay away from, the obvious. You know what I'm saying? So, you don't do that in the sport. If you're the baddest man on the planet, you should have fought the other baddest man, or the people that people feel that can beat you, or the people that we want to see you fight, not Ortiz. So if it does flop like Rick says, or his enthusiasts say that it will, it will. But they will understand from now on that comes with consequences. If this fight doesn't do what it's supposed to do or is projected to do, even pay the fighters, that means PBC and Fox are going to have to pay Ortiz $7 million and Deontay Wilder whatever he is getting for this fight. So if you're looking at 7, and you can only imagine that Deontay's maybe getting 10 or 11, you know what I mean? Let's be real. That's probably what he's getting for his fight purse. Something a little under $20 million. So if it flops, PBC and Fox are going to have to pay Wilder and Ortiz. And I doubt they would want to do that again. So, the credibility of Deontay Wilder will be, questioned, So it's one of those things. Again, I hope that's not the case, because this is just something reported from one guy, hearing it from 2 other writers that we don't know who these guys are. So, you got to take that into consideration too. But I do look forward to the fight nonetheless, regardless of what it sells. Okay. So you guys tell me what you think about this newfound information about poor ticket sales. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.